Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. Today we got another weapon guide for you guys, and today we're doing the PDW. This is the starter SMG that a lot of people are going to use in the early game, and I'm going to show you all the ins and outs to this weapon, and if you want to use it, I'm going to teach you exactly how to master it. Before we get into it, shout out to these guys that left comments on some of my previous videos, and also make sure you're hitting that subscribe button because a lot of you are not subscribed. But now let's just get right into it. So the PDW is going to be one of those weapons that you get from the stockpile right at the beginning. You go to the quick shop and you purchase PDW from them. This is a great starter weapon, and it's really one of the better weapons that they have available to you. We already went over the AR-55. If you haven't seen that video, go watch it, but we're going over the PDW, and this thing is not as bad as people think. So first things first, it does 9 damage, has a 20 magazine size, and has 10 penetration. For this video, we're not going to deck it out with purple attachments, blue attachments, because that's not realistic. We're going to use the best white attachments that we have available to us, and we'll go over how well that does with full attachments versus not having full attachments. So going over the attachments really quickly, there are a couple of different options you have available to you, so you have to choose carefully. First things first, skip over the 2x sight. If you use that, you are nuts. For the magazine, we're going to use the light quick draw because this reduces the time to reload, and you're going to need that on that gun because unless you have 2 of these, and I'll talk about that later in the video, you have to reload quickly. All right, you have to get the next magazine in to be able to keep shooting. Now we have the angled foregrip. This is going to reduce the recoil when you're firing. Recoil is really bad on this gun, so you want to get all these recoil attachments on your weapon ASAP. For the stock, we're going to be using the standard stock because it also reduces the recoil when firing this weapon, and that's also a major key to using this weapon. For the sight, we're going to be using a red dot sight. I think it's the best sight. I think it's the best sight for this weapon. I usually go with a holographic sight, but the red dot sight is also a very solid option. We're also choosing the small muzzle brake because this does reduce the recoil. Again, when firing, the recoil has to be reduced as much as possible for this gun to be viable for you. Its base recoil is really bad, so you're going to want to stack all these attachments on the gun. And now for the last attachment, we have tactical rear grip. And this reduces the time to aim down sights because aiming down sights on this weapon is going to be crucial for you because you're going to want to hit all of your shots. No scoping this weapon is something that's pretty hard to master, and since you're using this weapon, you're going to need every advantage that you can find, so make sure to aim down sights quickly with this attachment. Now let me go over what I usually take in my loadout when I'm using this weapon. So this right here is my normal kit for rocking this weapon. You might be confused as to why I have 2 PDWs instead of 1. You'll be surprised to know that if you're in an intense gunfight and you don't have time to reload and you're going around a corner, you should just switch weapons and not reload. Since we have that magazine on it, reloading is not that bad, but sometimes you're in such intense gunfights that your only option is to switch weapons and just go from there. I use this loadout when I'm doing white runs. I don't really use it with any other type of armor because again, this gun is a starter gun, so I'm not going to use it like the AR-55 because that gun is built different. But I bring 1,000 rounds, 2 grenades just to be able to push people out from long range fights because again, this is a close range gun, and then I have 15 stims just to accompany all of my inventory. But now let's get into the juice of the video, which is the recoil. So right here, as we see, we have the PDW with all of the attachments on the weapon. We're going to shoot at the same exact spot and see how the recoil does with attachments versus without. First, let's do with. So we're going to aim in at this spot and let's see how the recoil does. So we go straight up, a little to the right and a little to the left. This is like a very tight question mark, all right? The recoil with all of the attachments is not too bad. You're going to have to control it a simple way like we do in every other video. You're going to have to follow the recoil pattern the opposite way. So as we see, it goes up like a question mark, literally identical to a question mark. So we see the recoil pattern on this weapon is like a very tight question mark. So as we do in every other video, we're going to follow the recoil pattern but do the complete opposite of what this does. So if the recoil pattern goes up like a question mark, it kind of goes to the right to left fashion. We're going to do that but the opposite. So down here, it curves to the right. We're going to curve to the left, and then it curves a little right to left to a hook. So we're going to go right to left to a hook, all right? So this is how you're going to shoot for the recoil pattern to really be consistent. You have to understand just practice because recoil is all about practice. You're going to see comparisons on the top right of the screen. Once we get the version without attachments, you'll see the comparison of both. So now we're going to take all of the attachments off and just leave the red dot and shoot at the exact same spot, see how the recoil does. And as we see, we have the same shape here, but it's just kind of extended. For the other recoil pattern, it was very compact, and as you see in the top right, there are differences. The bullets spaced out differently. So we're going to follow the exact same pattern controlling this recoil. It's just going to have to be a little bit elongated. So for the pattern, we're just going to have to follow the same exact recoil pattern that we did before and do it again just a little bit elongated. But just so you have another eye for what happened there, let's do it with attachments one more time. So as you see, we have full attachments on the gun. We're going to shoot at the same spot, and if you look at the bullet spacing here, it's very compact. The bullets don't have much room to be around each other, all right? There's there's a little gap between each bullet. But now if we move on and take all of the attachments off the weapon, you'll see a huge difference in the spacing between the bullets. And this means that there is that little extra recoil, and as we see here, there's more spacing between bullets. So you saw it in live action. You have to understand that the attachments make a big difference for this weapon. For some other weapons in this game, I didn't see much difference when you had certain attachments on the weapon, but for this gun, there is a very drastic difference spacing of the bullets. The shape of the pattern is the same, but the spacing is very much different. So if I were you, I'd spend the extra 1500 K marks to get the attachments for this weapon, just so you have that little extra chance of getting that kill. Now let's quickly go over how this gun does in the PvE scenarios. So here we are moving up on some rattlers, and let's see how many bullets it takes. Again, this gun is not meant for PvE in my eyes. If you're bringing this gun to kill mobs, stop it right now. As we see, we shoot a whole clip from a very far distance, and again, there's only 20 bullets in a mag for this weapon, so you have to understand it's gonna take a minute to get a kill with this thing against these PvE mobs. So as I keep shooting them, it took about 3 clips to kill one. Now it's gonna probably take 3 to 4 clips to kill this one, because again, it does depend on the range you are. Right there for those kills, we were pretty far on the mob. I didn't kill a marauder with this weapon because that would be just extremely hard. It would probably take 6 to 8 mags just to kill him when he's up in your face. But again, for this weapon against PvE, I don't think it's terrible, but again, it's not the best weapon that you should bring. For a starter gun, it's not that bad. I'd obviously bring like a trench gun or something to kind of deal with the mob very beginning. PvE capabilities for this weapon are not the best, but give it a shot and see how it feels for you. Now we're gonna go over the PvP side of this weapon, and this is where I think the gun thrives. It's not the best weapon in the world if you're comparing it to the Flechette or something, but for a white weapon, it's decently solid. So let's see how this gunfight does with this weapon. So we're just kind of looking out. We heard someone before. We peek in the hallway. We start making our way down. We get absolutely shredded. We have to dodge all of the bullets because if I'm going to use this weapon, I have to be close quarters with the enemy. So here I decide to sneak up and just kind of hold this upper angle. I know he's underneath me, so I have to play to this weapon's advantage, which is close range. As we see here shortly, the enemy does have a trench gun, so he's going to have that advantage close range also. So I get some good shots on him. I reload. I make sure I have enough ammo. Ammo is an issue with this gun. I see him push out. I go. I drop down on him. I'm confident. I switch weapons. I jump. I bunny hop, and I kill him. He did have a bulldog, so he did have the advantage in that scenario. But let's go over how I played that one more time. So with this weapon, I want to get up close and personal with it. You'll see I don't aim down sights much in this case scenario just because I was way too close and I didn't want to waste time in aiming down sights before I shot. So I made sure I knew where he was. I got some good shots on him beforehand, so I got some decent shots on him here. Hit about 5 bullets, which may frighten him. So now I heard him go around, but I'm like, okay, I'm pushing it. I get some decent shots. I switch weapons and I go for the kill and I get it. Luckily, he didn't hit the best bulldog shots on me, but since I had 2 PDW, it just helped me in getting that win in that gunfight. So right here for gunfight number 2, this was more of a long range / close range gunfight. We get some good shreds on him at certain points, but he had a sniper, so we had to take our time with him. So we move up in this area. I knew he was around us somewhere. I peek to the right. I see him just staring at me. So I managed to get some decent shots on him. I see he has green, and I know that I probably just tickled him a little bit with this weapon. So I know he's not scared, and I have to play this smart because I don't want to die because he has a sniper, and it's going to be shooting at my head the whole fight. So here I try to peek around the trees and really understand what I'm getting myself into. I learned that he has a sniper, so I either have to push this or I have to run away. So I decide to push forward and march on, try to find him. He does run away. He dips out a little bit, but shortly after we heard him healing. So we move up, look down at the cliff, and we see him run across this little field right here. And I know I have to get some good shots on him, and I really do. I nail him. I now know that he has green armor and a white helmet. I'm not that scared anymore if I can get some really decent headshots on him. So now I'm panicking, trying to find my way around, trying to maneuver towards him. So right here, I chase the enemy. I know he's healing because I know I shredded him in that gunfight. So this is going to be a close range gunfight, and I'm ready. I see him hiding behind the tree. I know he has either a submachine gun or a shotgun, so I got to play smart. I get some decent shots on him. I have no bullets left in either gun, so I kind of panic, try to maneuver my way around. He tries to knife me, but luckily I get the kill before he could have knifed me. I didn't know I wasn't that low in this gunfight. My screen was really red, so I thought I was like one shot, but I had a lot more health. But luckily we got the kill on him, and we reloaded extremely quickly because again, we had those attachments on this PDW. And that gunfight's a prime example of where this gun excels. It does really well in those close range gunfights, and that guy had green armor, which was better than my armor since I was only rocking whites. He also had a scrapper, which is a green SMG, and I beat out a scrapper with this white version of this weapon. Now right here is a third gunfight. Now this was intense because we rolled up, we were about to evac, and some guys in blue armor rolled up on us, and we only had whites in PDW, so we had to play this smart in order to get these kills. My teammate threw some really good nades here, and I flanked around and got some really good shots. As we see, I peek him on my right. He has no idea I'm there. I get some really good shots. I shred him. I tell my teammate that, and now I'm just really trying to focus in and understand how we're gonna win this gunfight because they do have blues. They do have really, really, really good weapons. You'll see that later on. We have to play this smart. We maneuver around. We see one enemy running away. We absolutely shred him with this weapon. Again, I literally lasered him. He was probably low, but luckily this gun could handle that range. So here my teammate gives a great call. Sedge is to my left. I trust him and I drop down. I know this guy has really good armor, so I have to hit every shot, and I do. I shred him. I shredded someone with purple armor, and guess what? In this gunfight, I gained purple armor, a shatter gun, and a core, all from wearing white armor and having 2 PDW. It is possible to upgrade your loot with white guns. You can kill these guys. You just have to have the confidence, and you have to have the skill and the mindset to maneuver around to make sure you make these solid plays and get some really good shots on these enemies. That is going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.